And welcome to another week of Between the Posts. TJ here, and it's great pleasure that I can introduce the Division 5 expert. Welcome, Mr. Vince Cosmai.
Hello, TJ. How are you, my friend? It's great to be here. First time for me at Between the Posts this year to talk about the Wakefield Sports Clinic Division 5.
Bit of pressure too. There's been some scuttlebutt on the internet. They want to hear from you, mate, so I'm looking forward to your wrap. And of course, where were you yesterday for your commentary duties?
Park 9 for me yesterday to watch the last two premiers clash.
Nice.
The reigning premiers and, of course, the premiers from 2022.
Lot to get through today, mate. And again, look, it's with great excitement. I'm not going to lie. Once again, this show's growing. Audience is growing. We've actually got a studio audience in today. Okay, my daughters are a bit torn there between the two clubs, Payneham and Glenunga.
Geez, more clubs there than Tiger Woods, mate.
I do get around a little bit, but I'm right here where I love to be, talking about the Adelaide Footy League, and I'll be doing my Div 1 wrap. Of course, Beck will be joining us for the Division 1 women's wrap. I know you love a mark and a goal, don't you, mate?
Oh, just love the Jag Meatworks snag of the day. Who will jag the snag of the day? I had one yesterday. That's coming up as well.
Yeah, and how's the email that came out about us two yelling during the Jag Meatworks? Did you read that one? That was directed purely at us.
It was the first week of the Jag Meatworks snag of the day, and so how could you not get excited?
That was a good goal by Gibson Turner last week.
It was.
Hey, Farmers Leap Coach of the Week, of course. And we have a look at what caught our eye. Yep. This is the segment where we look at all 7 divisions. Now, we don't converse on what caught our eye. We go live. We want to make it authentic. So I'm really interested to see some of the stuff that caught your eye, mate.
Some of the stuff that caught my eye. Something that we'll talk about in Division 1. When we're going through the Division 1 wrap, that I'll hold off for that segment.
Oh, fantastic. Mate, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to all our great viewers and sponsors. Stay tuned for more Between the Posts. Time for the Division 1 wrap, looking at round 4 and previewing round 5. Let's start with our stream team game. It was PNU and Spock at the Falconry, and it wasn't pretty. PNU 8-17-65, Spock 6-18-54, an 11-point win to the Falcons. Let's have a look at number 15 from the Falcons, PNU's Maddie Nunn, putting together quite a nice season there, and one of our standout players. Major goal kickers for the Falcons, the man they call Tentacles, Tom Wagner with 3 and Jacob Campbell with 2. For Spock, it was the Heartbreak Kid, Nick Michaels, HBK with another 2. Great to see as well, Tommy Wagner and Jacob Campbell. I remember these guys being a Payneham Life member. These guys are running around pretty much in nappies all the way through their juniors. It is what's great about some of these clubs with great junior programs. You get to see them grow up. And their dads, no doubt, Mark Wagner, played a bit of footy with him. And Jacob Campbell, son of the great Fred. Now, those of you who have been on the Payneham balcony, you'd know Fred Campbell paid for that balcony in the beers he's purchased, and he once kicked 12 goals in a game. I know you're looking at the screen right now and saying, 14, Tommy. 14 it was. Anyway, moving right along, we've got a bunch of awards because it's a stream team game. The Mosey Voucher Best Team Player was indeed Maddie Nunn. The Neo North Mouthguard Player of the Day. Let's have a look at Jack Hodges' long-range set shot in the second quarter.
We'll go to Lockie Gould on the boundary in just a moment. Let's see this shot from Hodges first. Right on the arc of 50. That's the best kick I've seen today.
Our Archie's best on ground, New Balance Belgravia and Dartfish Beanie. The man that won it all was Tommy Wagner. All right, let's look at some of the commentators' notes. And I mean, what they sent me was, this wasn't one for the time capsule. It was a grime. It was a beautiful day, to quote you two. 49 scoring shots yielding 14 goals, 35, says a lot about the pressure on the game. Not to be disrespectful to the skills, the pressure was on. But interesting to see. We're going to look at a goal that went end to end. It's late in the first quarter from St. Peter's. It's just being overlaid as I speak. So you can see the ability was there for it to be a much higher scoring game than it was. But around the contest, it was very, very tight and tough. Some of the other good players for Spock, De Cesare and Higgins, consistent players. They were very good again. And for PNU, interestingly, I like this. Jed Spence, Brad McKenzie, super footballer, but a new name, Tyler Sparkle. Young Tyler doing a great job. Last but not least, our Roll the Dice player of the day. 1 vote to Tentacles, 2 votes to Ed Allen for Spock, he was great, and 3 votes to Matty Nunn. All right, let's have a look at our next game, and it was Golden Grove and Broadview at Harpers Field. I said this one was tough to pick, and it certainly was. It was Golden Grove 10-9-69, Broadies 10-17-77. Our player that we're going to have a little look at now is someone I've talked about a little bit, Steve Jackson. He had 23 touches at 78%, 5 marks, 6 tackles. But here's the stat that probably made him the best player on the ground, and what I talked about, he's got that cannon, that left-footed weapon. 13 inside 50s. He's put the ball into attack, and when he puts the ball into attack with such a beautiful left leg, they're often really, really penetrating forward thrusts, deep, deep entries. So 13 there for Steve-O. A really nice effort indeed. It was very much an arm wrestle with Golden Grove leading by 16 points at quarter time, but that tiger determination, that fighting spirit got them over the line as they kicked 8-12 to 5-6 for the rest of the game. That's 20 scoring shots to 11. Again, the weapon that was Steve Jackson's leg was mentioned by the commentators, and Johnny Boris's 2 late goals absolutely crucial in deciding this result. We've got Dartfish stats on this one. There's just 4 I'd like you to have a look at. And again, disposals, 306 to Golden Grove, 246 to Broadview. So again, Golden Grove, chip it around, control the ball, but Broadview take the grass, a lot of long, effective kicks that made the difference. Clearances, 28 to 33, so 5 more clearances to Broadview. And again, just bouncing back to the possessions, Golden Grove winning the handball by 46. So the kicking was fairly even, long kicking in favour of Broadview, but handball heavily favoured towards Golden Grove. Last one, marks inside 50, and this one, well, these are important, 10 to 7. And when you've got forwards like Johnny Boris who can kick from right on the 50 without any problem at all, having 10 marks inside 50 is a really good start to getting the chocolates. Some of the better players that don't make the votes for Golden Grove, Connor Dudd had 33, Pittman 24, and Payne had 21. Of course, I'm getting that off of the Dartfish stats. I didn't mention as well, Boris did kick 3, and Mulhurran kicked 3, so really good effort by that young fella. Whilst for Golden Grove, Tomney and Hoskin both kicked a brace. Let's look at our Roll the Dice Player of the Year awards. It was a 1 vote for Declan Tomney from Golden Grove. I think it was just his second game, A-grade game, which is outstanding. He had 20 touches and went at 85%. Really caught the commentator's eye. We had Jesse White. Again, we talked about these players coming back in. They had 3 big ins this week, Broadview, and Jesse White was one of them. 19 touches, 18 hit-outs, and 7 marks. So he was crucial in getting the ball going Broadview's way, and our BOG, of course, was that man in the photo, Steve Jackson. Well done to the Tigers, a really good away from home win, and it sees them, for the first time this year, move into the 5. On to our next game, let's have a look at Sacred Heart and the Brighton Bombers. This one was at Shocks Middle School, I believe, and again, inaccuracy, there's a definite trend happening. I'm telling you right now, if Brighton people are sitting at home taking a drink every time I mention their inaccuracy, they're going to be half cut by the end of this segment. Brighton 4-14, Sacred Heart, nice accurate Sacred Heart, 12-8. A comfortable 42-point win there in the end. The player we're going to have a look at in footage is number 7 once again, Tommy McDermott from Sacred Heart. And chief goal scorers, there was no multiple goal scorers for Brighton, but for Sacred Heart, Lacornu with 3 and Coach Colotto with 3. One of the highlights for Brighton was the Jag Meatworks goal of the day. That went to Jack Plenty. We're going to have a look at that snag right now from Jack.
The lead like this in the 4th quarter, picked up by Plenty, sets out for home, and that might be a goal of the day. So they might have lost the game, but they might take home a kilo of sausages.
And just some of the other commentators' notes we've got. Shock seemed to outnumber them around the ball. 5 goals to 0 in the 1st and 3rd when going with the breeze. So what I'm saying there is when they went with the breeze, they kicked 5, Brighton kicked 0, and that really was the tail of the tape. 10 of their 11 goals, I think 10 of their 12 goals were kicked to the one end with the breeze. Again, Brighton, when they went with the breeze for the first time, kicked 1 goal for, had all the play, all the territory, but just couldn't convert. Better players who didn't make the votes for Sacred Heart, Rankin, Kerrish, Noble, and for Brighton, Perry, Reid and Loy. Let's have a look at these votes, and let's start with 1 vote, Lockie Scannell. I think I've mentioned it before, or maybe I haven't. This was one of the best juniors I've ever coached. This kid, Lockie Scannell, he's probably about 19, 20 years old now. ironically was a Brighton junior. Mouse would be punching the table right now. Another Brighton junior gone. This kid is going to be a star of Division 1. Watch out for him. He'd be worth the drive to watch him play. 2 votes, Darcy Glorious. He had a good year last year. He continues his good form, and best on ground was Tom McDermott. All right, on to our next game. It was Tea Tree Gully and Glenunga at Pertaringa. Tea Tree Gully 13-9-87. Glenunga, they take it all before them, 18-11, 119. The man we're going to have a look at is number 7, and he kicks 7, Michael McMahon. What a great game. He now takes his total to 15 for the year and is leading the Division 1 goal kicking. Other major scorers was Decky Fay, kicked 3, and Stephen Harry Prosser, also with 3. And for Tea Tree Gully, the goal kicking, it was the 2 Tylers, West and Martin. Martin with 4, West with 3, hitting the scoreboard. Again, just looking at what the commentators had to say about the game in their notes, Glenunga controlled the clearances, and what they do and do very well is they put score on the board when they've got the ascendancy. That's the key. 8 goals second quarter is where they won the game. Quite often they do that. They get on top, and they get on top early. And in that second quarter, Michael McMahon kicked 6 of his 7 goals. Decky Fay has kicked a really nice goal. I don't think there was a Jag Meatworks goal today, but we're going to have a look at Declan Fay taking his opponent to the candy shop in the third quarter for Glenunga.
Got the clearance again, Glenunga. We're looking for Bennett. He got caught behind, but they still work it forward anyway through Friday.
Got around the player.
Send it long, send it goal-wise, and they're just having fun with it now, Glenunga. This is all Ram time, and they're enjoying every second of it. To get 2 goals within a minute, and that one goes to Fay.
And let's look at some of the better players that didn't make the votes for the Gullies. It was Martin and Olsen who tried very hard all day. Whilst for Glenunga, some special efforts by Decky Fay with his 3 goals, playing in the midfield in that beautiful goal, and Charlie Pridham putting together a very consistent season. He was Goodwood's best player last year, and he's proving to be a real acquisition for the Rams this year. But on to the votes. Got some new names and some familiar ones. 1 vote, Abe Davis, as he now moves clear in the Roll the Dice Player of the Year. 2 votes to the big man, ruckman recruit Jordan West, who'd had a couple of years off footy. He's been a great acquisition as well. And best on ground, no doubt about it. 7 snags, can't go wrong. Well done to Michael McMahon. There's only 1 game left for the round, and one of the great benefits is that we've got a team of about 12 commentators out there. They check it out, they send me pages of notes each night, and they do a great job. But why hear it from me when we can get it straight from the horse's mouth? I'd like to invite to the desk, quite magically, the great man, Vince Cosmai. And through the magic of television, just like that, with 45 pages of note, welcome, Vince.
Hello, TJ. How are you, mate?
Good to have you back again, of course. You've joined me for Between the Posts this week. Let's look at it. PAC and Port District at Park 9, PAC 8-6-54, Port District 17-4-106, a really good 52-point win there. It was Craig Pitt with 3 for PAC. For Port, it was Batty with 4 and 9 goal scorers. But the man in focus footage is going to be Batman James Batty. As we have a look at his efforts, tell us a bit about why he was the man to watch.
So the key thing when I'm trying to find the player of the game is to look at the player when they're needed, who stands up and who actually makes a difference. Now, interestingly enough, off to a flyer, Prince Alfred kicked the first couple of goals, and after that, then it went all downhill. It was 17 goals to 6 after that point. But the Batty kicked 3 of the first 4 goals for Port District, and that was only punctuated by the Jag Meatworks snag of the day late in the first quarter.
Well, Vince, let me tell you, I'm just nuts about this goal. It was Preston Cockatoo Collins, as you said, the Jag Meatworks goal of the day. Let's have a little look.
And he kicks long, far into the boundary, doesn't quite go to anyone specifically. It's a shot at goal.
Preston Cockatoo Collins, well, that is. He has jagged the snag of the day there. Fantastic kick there from Preston Cockatoo Collins.
Beautifully done there by Preston, a worthy winner indeed. Mate, and obviously I'll go through the commentators' notes, which I appreciate you sending me in each week. Any other notes about the game, mate?
Well, I've done PAC 3 weeks in a row now. And it's a signature of their game in their back half, how they do chip the ball and they do then try to take the risky kick into the middle of the ground and then punctuate forward from there. But Port District, were really good at clocking up the corridor yesterday and not allowing them to be able to get that style of play going, and that played a big part. It was a bit of a grind, the whole game. I think it went 12, 23, 28 in terms of the margin at the break. So they just eked away, kicked 4 goals in each of the 3 quarters, to a couple of goals from the hosts.
From the Reds. And of course, Port District, when they were at their very best, winning the flag in 2022, and even last year pushing, the strength was their work rate. Not just the big names, but guys like Sam Gray and all these types. They worked hard and they do structure up behind the ball beautifully. And that press that Rammer plays is very hard to get past when they're playing at their best. Look, mate, a beautiful wrap there. Let's have a look at the votes now. 1 vote to Jack Trenorden in ruck. You liked his game?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'd like to get a tap result here. Seriously, he would have had 100 head-outs yesterday in the absence of Scott Lysette, who was just managed for this game.
Yep.
And he was absolutely dominant. Really, if they had been close enough, maybe could have even got 3.
Yeah.
We ended up giving him 1.
Yep. Louis Sharrod with the 2 for Port District across the midfield, and that man who we've already talked about, the Batman, James Batty, getting the job done. All right, next up is the Roll the Dice Player of the Year. We're just going to take a break from having the leaderboard every week. Of course, Davis and Haynes, we know, are right up the top, but Tom McDermott and Matty Nunn are now making a play. They've appeared a couple of times in the votes with some best on grounds. But the one you've had a look at this week is Joey Haynes, mate. Tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, Joey, in fact, both Hayneses, different spellings, were good yesterday. Joey was good. I really like how Port District, it was quite difficult to pick the better players. Even the umpire came over to our commentary stand at the end of the game, and he said, "Who are you giving the Archies to?" But and we had a quick 15-second discussion about it. That it could have easily been half a dozen Port District games, but Joe was certainly amongst their better players.
He's a good footballer with a beautiful long leg. There you go. If you can just get that ladder for us up, please, mate, and let's just have a look at what makes some pretty interesting reading. It's Glenunga and Sacred Heart, both undefeated on 4-0. Port District 3-1. And this is where it gets interesting. Who's making their move? Well, PNU are in the 5, 2-2. Broadies, for the first time this year on 2-2, are in there. And PAC, for the first time in, well, I think quite a while, drop out of the 5. They're 2-2. Gullies 1-3. Golden Grove, I think surprisingly to most, 1-3 in 8th position. Brighton 1-3. And Spock yet to register a win on 0-4. But the ladder to me, Vince, I still truly believe that any team can beat anyone if they're not on their day.
It's a great brand this year that we're seeing in Division 1. It's really difficult. Games are hard to win, I agree.
Yep.
And
bank them when you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Every win is so precious because they're hard to get.
Yeah. Let's look at this week's games, and I'll just get a tip from you if I can, mate. Now, I'm 17 out of 20 in the tips, and I'm give myself one of these, but I can't pick this one. I don't know. So I'll just be honest with you. 5th versus 2nd, Broadies versus Shock. Broadies at home. Who do you like?
Broadview come good the last 2 weeks, starting to get a few players back, but K Lotto's men, they're just marching along, and might be talking a little bit more about them a little bit later when we do our segment on each division.
Yeah,
so I'm taking Shock.
Yeah, I'm going to go against you, mate. I'm going to go Broadies. I think they're just starting to come good. The 3 ends this week and more to come. I think momentum's a funny thing in football, and they've just got a little bit at the moment. The next one is Port versus Golden Grove. What I'll say about this is if Golden Grove do drop this one, and I think it's going to be really close, they go to 1-4, and in Div 1, it's really hard to recover from 1-4. I don't care who you are. So I'm going to take Port, and Golden Grove could be in a little bit.
After what I saw yesterday, and with a couple of big name ins to come back, headed of course by Scott Lysette, I would think Ports would win comfortably. Yep.
10th host 7, and very much a similar situation. Spock can't afford to go 0-5. They got out of jail last year in the final quarter of the year. I don't think they'll be able to do that again. They've got to beat Teacher Gully. I don't think they will, though.
Biggest escape since Houdini last year, Spock. Winning 5 of the last 6, I believe.
A lot of our viewers won't know who Houdini is. Maybe you have to say Chris Mindfreak, Chris Angel. Biggest,
yes.
I don't know. But yeah, Houdini's from the...
David Copperfield, is that better?
I don't know, but I know what you're getting at,
mate. Yeah. It was amazing what they come up with at the end of the year. They haven't actually been too bad.
No, they've been consistent.
And I think I'm doing this game at Caterer next week. Looking forward to getting back there first time this year. And so I'm taking the home side to actually break their duck.
The next one's Glenunga and PAC. The 2023 Grand Final rematch probably doesn't get much bigger than this, and Glenunga are still stinging from a game they think they could have won and probably should have won, who knows. They won't be taking PAC. We've just gone off the boil a little bit lightly. Grima will have them wound up like a 2-bob watch, mate. And I think Glenunga will do a number on PAC.
Yeah, I can see this one getting just a little bit uncomfortable for the Reds.
At home at Webb Oval, watch for the constricting nature of Glenunga just to choke hold on PAC, not literally, figuratively. All right, and our stream team game of the round. I can't believe I've got a phone call about this on a Sunday morning already at 10 o'clock. Here we go. He's back. Sean Jackson's back. Adam Jeffries is having the week off. So welcome back, Jacko. He's got a week off of Kingston duties. He'll be joining Phil Hurd in our stream team game of the round, which is Brighton versus PNU. I think this one can go either way. I'm not going to talk about Brighton's inaccuracy again. They probably win if they're accurate. They lose if they don't. I'll take PNU.
Brighton to kick accurately and win.
Yeah, it feels like it come down to that. This has been the Division 1 wrap. Thanks for joining me, mate, and we'll be back with more Between the Posts.
Northcott, and welcome to the Adelaide Footy League Division 1 Women's Wrap for Round 4. Well, another week of footy has come and gone, and let me tell you, it is all happening in the Division 1 of the Women's League, where the competition is heating up, so let's get straight into it. In Game 1 of the week, Broadview hosted Payneham. Coming off a nice 64-point win last week, Broadview would have been coming into this game feeling like this season is finally starting to get underway. Likewise, Payneham, fresh off the bye, 2 wins, no losses, were in a really good spot coming into this game. Well, this turned out to be a close one, with Payneham 5-7-37 just edging out Broadview 5-2-32, so just a 5-point margin. A game that was really alive all the way through, with the first quarter only being separated by 1 point in favour of Payneham, 1-3 to Broadview, 1-2. Payneham kicked 3-1 in the second, but Broadview responded by keeping Payneham scoreless in the third. In the end, Payneham were too good and probably could have taken the pressure off a little bit by being a bit more accurate in front of goal. But a lot to take out of this result in terms of how close this division can really be. Broadview are really finding their form again, and probably more that form that they had in the early 2023 season, where they were just getting wins all over the place. What also caught my eye from this game for Broadview is that all 5 of their goals, every single one, were kicked by superstar forward Remy Grant. Now, she was the leading goal kicker in the Division 1 women's competition last year, so it looks like she's starting to hit some form in front of the goal, and for me, that's very exciting, and probably very exciting for Broadview as well, so we will definitely be keeping an eye on her. For Payneham, I was excited to see captains Jess Meacham and Chloe Samuel back in the side to lead their team to victory. Abby Claby made it 3 from 3 best on ground performances for Payneham, so she's on an absolute roll. Also, she led the goals for Payneham with 2, taking her season total to 7 goals in 3 games. She was supported well on the scoreboard by teammates Letitia Ackland, Chloe Peterson and Zoe Proud, who all kicked singles. With that win, Payneham remain undefeated for 2024, so a great start for them. They'll be really happy with where they're sitting. In the second game of the round, a result, well, I probably didn't see coming, and here it is. It's Golden Grove, 5-5-35, defeated the Goodwood Saints 4-7-31 by 4 points. Now, this was a match between the 2 promoted teams from Division 2 last year, who have really been on different paths in their start to Division 1. Prior to this game, Goodwood, undefeated, they've just been on an absolute roll, runaway train in Division 1, and Golden Grove was still hunting for their first win of the season. All I can say is what a fantastic effort for Golden Grove, and what a way to get your first win, knocking off the undefeated Goodwood Saints. Now, starting off strong, Golden Grove won the first quarter 3-2 to 1-2, getting out to a 12-point lead nice and early. Now, Goodwood, of course, responded, holding Golden Grove scoreless in the second quarter and to 1 point in the third, getting out to an 11-point lead at 3-quarter time. But Golden Grove just absolutely turned the tables, kicking 3-2 in the last and only allowing Goodwood to score a single point. An inspiring win by the Boroughs, who get a little bit of revenge from their 44-point loss to Goodwood in last year's Division 2 Grand Final. On the scoreboard for Goodwood were Georgia Taylor and Emma White with 2 goals each, while Olivia McAvoy scored the best player for the Saints in her 4th game at the club. On the Golden Grove side, Liana Wessingley was on fire with 4 of their 5 goals, with their 5th goal coming from Jessie Lim. Eileen Habner was given the best on her team's win, and I think Golden Grove will be up and about. For Goodwood, probably wish they were a little bit more accurate in front of goal with 4-7. There's not any real reason though to panic for the Saints, as they still retain top spot on the ladder. I've talked every week so far about how well they've started the year, and I see no reason why they can't continue this despite the loss. There's so much to love about how this team goes about it, and I expect them to be heavily involved when it comes to finals. Goodwood have the bye now, so will enjoy a chance to recover and rest ahead of their next encounter with Henley in 2 weeks. Though I did see on Facebook that it's Ladies' Day at Goodwood next Saturday, so maybe there might be some recovery of a different kind going on. Now, in the final fixture of the round, we saw Morphettville Park get their first win of the season, kicking 8 goals 13-61 to beat Smosh 4 goals 125. Both teams were searching for their first premiership points of the year, and after a slow first quarter where the Roos kicked 2 points to Smosh's single goal, Morphettville started kicking goals, booting 4 goals 6 in the second and 4 goals 4 in the last quarter. And despite their inaccuracy in front of goal, Morphettville Park still took out a solid 36-point win in the end. As I expected for this team, Morphettville have welcomed back a lot of their more experienced squad members following the completion of the Sandford W development season. And they are definitely a lot stronger for it, and it is a lot of their leaders, players that have played a lot of games for the club. So it's definitely great to see all these players back out there for the Roos. In front of goal, one of those experienced players, experienced campaigner for Morphettville Park, Tess Maple, kicked goals, as did Tessa Cone, and so did Caitlin Swanson. And so all of them kicked 2 goals, with singles to Elizabeth Probyn Shingles and Hannah Scholar. Tessa Cone was awarded the best on in her first game back at Morphettville after a couple of seasons spent with Wollonga in the Great Southern Footy League. She also played all 8 games for Glenelg in the Development League this season, so she's coming off good form and some good experience. On the Smosh side, goals were coming in hot from the Gooley sisterhood, with Asher kicking 2 and Astrid Gooley kicking 1. Georgina Evans also contributed with a goal. Smosh were happy to welcome back the talented Charlotte Dolan, fresh off her Sandford W development premiership with South Adelaide. And she's definitely brought that form back to Smosh, taking the coaches' votes for best on for the Lions. Now, Smosh have had a tough start to the year and still looking for a win, but they've kicked their highest score for the year in this round, so they're improving every week. I'm sure with the likes of Dolan back in the mix, they will only get stronger and keep building towards their first win. For Morphettville, it was good to see them get that first win, and I'm sure they will start to build their season from here, and we will see a really, change in form for Morphettville Park. Morphettville will take on Broadview next week in what I think will be an interesting clash. Both sides sitting on one win each and looking to travel up the ladder. Like I said last week, there's probably a fairly solid current top 3 of Goodwood, Payneham and Henley trying to break away from the rest of the teams. So the winner of this game between Broadview and Morphettville will be looking to stay in touch with those top 3. Elsewhere, Golden Grove take on Smosh and will be looking to get 2 wins in a row. The final game will be a tough contest between Payneham and Henley. Both teams are yet to lose a game and are the only two left in the league that are undefeated. It's shaping up as a big clash, and I really look forward to bringing you the results of this one. Now, to my highlights around the women's divisions, I bring you a couple of things this week. In Division 2, Hayley Tahini had an absolute day out for Hope Valley, kicking 6 goals in their 48-point win over Lockleys. So go Hayley, keep kicking those snags. And in Division 5, I also saw that Crystal Sumner booted 5 goals for Kilburn as they took the win over West Croydon. And across the league, I did notice a bit of a trend with 12 games were 50 points plus were kicked by a team, which is awesome to see. Critics of women's football can often say it's low scoring and not interesting, but we are definitely bucking the trend there, and there's plenty of scoring to be had in the Adelaide Footy League women's comp across all of the divisions. So make sure you get out and watch some women's footy over the next week. There's plenty to see and plenty of places that you can watch some good footy. I will see you next week with all the results from Division 1 and some more highlights.
One of the great segments on Between the Posts is, of course, our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week, leading into the Farmers Leap Coach of the Year. Now, Adam Jeffries, our good friend at Farmers Leap, has been the one to choose the Division 1 Coach of the Week. He's out at the game seeing him every week. I'm not, so a bit of a logical progression there. And his selection for the Division 1 Coach of the Week is Alex Collotto. Alex Collotto, of course, the coach of Sacred Heart, playing coach, has taken his team to a 4-0, 4-0 win-loss ratio with minimal fuss, staying a little bit under the radar while everyone's talking about Port District, Glenunga and even Broadview. Just going along nicely, the Shockers. They look like they're a few good players out from last year, but have been able to cover them very well so far. They're going very well defensively and putting some good scores on the board. They've got a couple of big tests coming up, so we'll see how this plays out. Just the notes from the weekend as well, coming in from Jack Moore, just what Alex Collotto is doing around the ball, the shepherds, the blocks, doing all the 1%ers leading from the front. So without doubt, a worthy winner of the Farmers League Coach of the Week. Congratulations to Sacred Hearts, Alex Collotto. Now, fans of Between the Posts have been asking for it. You wanted it. Here it is. Vince Cosmai with the Division 5 season overview.
Wakefield Sports Clinic, Division 5, the greatest division on planet Earth. Now, Wakefield Sports Clinic, sports doctors, orthopaedic surgeons, physiotherapists, podiatrists, exercise physiologists, sports psychologists, dietitians, remedial massage therapists. They do it all. I don't even play, and I need about half a dozen of those different services. So magnificent work there by the team at Wakefield Sports Clinic. Actually conducted a concussion Q&A during the week, so I know that's a big topic in the game at the moment. So well done to them. Let's start with this weekend, yesterday's results. Pulteney 18-13, Portland 13-9, 6-goal win there to Pulteney. Blackfriars still yet to register a win. They were beaten comfortably at home by Mitcham by 84 points. West Croydon, another side yet to register a win. They were beaten by Woodville South. Woodville South got off to a reasonably good start this year. Margin there, 87 points. Rematch of the 2023 Division 6 Grand Final occurred yesterday.
It's a beauty.
And it was 3 points the margin in favour of the Dragons. They were able to back up.
Did you happen to catch the score at three-quarter time?
I didn't catch that.
14 points down. So, yeah, big last quarter.
I actually missed that. I should have known.
No, mate, you can. It's all right.
It's all right.
Sorry.
But they did get up by 3 points, so they did mimic that result where they won the grand final last year by just a little bit more than that. And Colonel Light Gardens sitting pretty on top of the ladder.
The Lions.
They were comfortable winners by 46 points over Trinity, the third of the three sides yet to register a win for the season. So how does that leave the ladder at the moment? You can see the ladder pop up on your screen now. We have two undefeated sides in the Colonel Light Gardens and Greenacres. A couple of sides on 3 wins and 1 loss, Pulteney and Mitcham. 3 sides, Woodville South, Marion and Portland are all 2-2. And then 3 sides yet to break their duck.
Yeah, what else? Can I just speak to that quickly, mate?
Yep.
You talked about it being, well, it's obviously your favourite division in the world. And everyone, it's great to be in a division where there's not a blowout sort of. I mean, teams can lose by big margins, but I still feel like, West Croydon are going to be really competitive. And the 3 teams that haven't won, well, they play each other this week without, again, stealing your thunder. But I reckon the ladder just shows you're going to get a good game each week in Div 5.
Oh, you are. But having said that, I'm a little concerned about my baby here.
Okay.
Now, the lack of close games so far in the first 4 rounds. There's only been 2 games. Marion, unfortunately, have lost both of them by less than 8 points. They lost at home by 7 points in round 2, and then, of course, the loss at Greenacres yesterday. They're the only 2 games so far in the first 4 rounds that have had single-digit margins. And interestingly enough, in round 2 there was that close game, and all other 4 games were decided by more than 10 goals. Average winning margins across the 4 rounds. Now it takes into account these 2 close Mitcham games. Yep. Round 1 average winning margin 61 points. Round 2 60 points. Round 3 46. Round 4 54. They're average winning margins. So 11 of the 20 games so far have had at least a 45-point margin. So,
but not many over 100. Which
there's been there's been some big margins, yes, but the interesting things are what I'm finding in this round is that you really need to show up. Yep. If you don't, you're tending to get beaten quite convincingly, and it's a little bit early just to see what sort of trends are coming out there. So it's something different for me, and I'm not used to all these. I'm used to all these close games, and I'm going to bring this up. I'm just going to show you this, but don't look at this. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen now. This is the ladder from 2 years ago after round 14. Now that means there was 4 rounds to go, and 7 of the 19 competition a couple of years ago. 7 of the 9 teams could still finish minor premier. That's the sort of closeness that I'm used to now.
That's a statistical anomaly.
So this year, couple of 3 teams obviously yet to register a win, so it's a little bit more spread out. But you're right, it's still not to the extent that we're seeing in a couple of the other divisions. So there we go. So in terms of my pre-season predictions, 4 rounds in, Greenacres certainly going a little bit better than what I predicted. And well done to them. They're just a Cinderella story in this whole competition. I mean, back-to-back promotions, back-to-back premierships, and after 4 rounds they're looking every chance to push for a 3-peat this year, and that is a phenomenal effort by that whole organisation. So well done to them. Sam
Bamford down there doing great things as footy manager, and off the field he just does a body of work. He basically treats it like a full-time job, and that's how you get success.
Yeah, it's just outstanding what's coming out of Greenacres. So Trinity are the one team I'm a little surprised. I did predict to them that they would possibly make the 5, and they're yet to register a win. They do get a chance this week playing another winless side. So my 5 was when we did our pre-season show: Trinity, Colonel Light Gardens, Mitcham, Marion, and Pulteney. So that's holding up not too bad, apart from Trinity so far. But look, folks, just don't take any notice of what I say, because this time last year, after round 3, I predicted Eastern Park would do really well, and that didn't end very well at all, that prediction. So look at some of the better goal kickers in this competition. Joel Aish back at Pulteney, 22 for the year. Others over the 4 games that have kicked at least average of 3. Terence Malira from Portland, Matthew Gibson from Greenacres, and Nicholas Patterson, the man that about 3 years ago I called kicking 11 in one game.
Yeah, Matty Gibson's a fair footballer. That'd be ex-Modbury Division 1 footballer, Matty Gibson. He'd be one to watch.
Yeah, sure. And the other one, Bradley Turner, and Bradley Turner's got his 12 goals from 3 games, so his percentage is going quite well there. So notable matches to come in round 5. Trinity versus Blackfriars. As we mentioned, one of those teams has to win, or they both could break their duck with a draw there, with a half a win. Match of the round next week, Woodville South, who are 5th. They're hosting Pulteney, who are 3rd. So interesting. And then assuming our 2 undefeated teams knock up their 5th win next weekend, they will face each other at Greenacres. Mm-hmm. Colonel Light Gardens will head there to square off in round 6 and see who will take the lead in the race for the minor premiership.
All right, so Vince, my pre-season predictions when I did this with you, I had Mitcham and Pulteney in the mix with Colonel Light Gardens as the other one. I did talk a lot about Greenacres though in that 3-peat. Yep. All 4 of those, this is what I like about this division. I mean, all 4 of those, you could really entertain the idea. They're all still, they'd be dreaming of the greatest glory.
Oh, look, it's still wide open. I see any of probably the top 6 or 7. Really, the top 7 sides have had results that would provide encouragement, for themselves and their coaching staff and their supporters. 3 sides, Trinity, Blackfriars, West Croydon. Not even writing off West Croydon yet. I mean, after last year, they were 1 and 5 and in bottom spot, and then ended up making the finals. So you're right. A lot can happen between now and the end of the year, but it's a lot of teams, and the topsy-turvy results that we're seeing certainly mean that it's still wide open.
Beautifully done, Vince. This has been the Division 5 report. Stay tuned for more Between the Posts. And on Between the Posts, our most viewed segment, of course, is the Goals and Marks of the Week. Have a look at these beauties.
Oh, he plays on. And he kicks long, far into the boundary. Doesn't quite go to anyone specifically. It's a shot at goal.
Umpire letting them play, not too much. He's doing this one, up he goes! Put his name on that one. That was a great effort, Elijah Lau.
One captain to another. Sumner goes down the wing. Oh, razzled down.
And welcome back to Between the Posts. It's time for What Caught Our Eye. And I love this one, Vince, because we haven't conferred on our notes. We sit and we scour and we look through Division 1 through to Division 7, what caught our eye in the different divisions, and we have a little chat about it, mate. So would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first in Division 1?
Okay, well, I'll go in Division 1. Now, I did prelude to the fact that I wanted to talk about this a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. When are Shock going to enter the discussion about being serious contenders in 2024? Because to me, they just look like they're just flying under the radar and sitting pretty. Glenunga getting all the plaudits, everyone talking up Port District and some of the other sides about their potential in doing well. But Alex K. Lotto, he's just got them hidden down the south and the western suburbs there, southwest, and they're just going under the radar beautifully. So they're catching my eye. I'm just putting it out there.
You're a beloved Port Power man, aren't you?
I am.
As am I. Unfortunately, Shock got a little bit of the Port Powers. They were brilliant in season and did nothing in the finals, and you've got to correct that. And probably until they do that, people won't probably think that they're a true premiership contender to answer your question. I think Glenunga and Port are the teams to beat, but it certainly is a fair question, mate. I'm glad it caught your eye.
Yep.
Tell you what caught my eye, the Tigers are coming. 3 ins on the weekend, Jesse White, Josh Byrne, Logan McKillen Collins, who likes being called the Blonde Bomber. They're coming 2-0, another big test this week, haven't they?
They have,
yeah.
And we've possibly selected differently on that one,
yeah.
Based on what caught my eye.
Yes. Okay.
Division 2, talk to me.
Yeah, Division 2. I'll tell you what caught my eye, and that is you can't trust the interweb because all the people with their fat little fingers typing away, all the angry ogres on there, always all Goodwood Saints will go undefeated. They won't lose a game. They'll be back in Division 1. This Division 1, Division 2 gig is a lot harder than people realise. Goodwood Saints currently sit 7th on 2-2. I still think they'll play finals. I still think they can get promoted. But just be careful with the hope and hype type thing. So, yeah, it really caught my eye that Goodwood Saints dropped another one.
Would you like to tell me what caught my eye?
I can't tell you what caught your eye. I don't know.
Goodwood Saints losing for the second time yesterday.
Yeah.
Expected to bounce straight back up to Division 1, sit 7th on 2-2. Look out.
Well done, mate. Let's go to Division 3, mate. You go first. I might steal your thunder.
Okay, so, well, it's not about what happened in round 4. We're going to talk about what's going to happen in round 5 when the 2 undefeated sides in Henley and North Haven are going to lock horns at Henley Memorial Oval. So that's what's caught my eye, and that's what's something I would expect would get mentioned on next week's show.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's it's really eye-catching because I've got 2 undefeated teams, Henley and Havens, meet next week. Well done, Vince.
Your turn.
Yeah, okay, Division 4. You won't get this one because I've gone a very different avenue in Division 4, and I've gone down to the goal kicking. And interestingly enough, the top 7 goal kickers all from different clubs this week. That's where it sits right now. Yeah. Corey Solly, the big fella from Kilburn on 19, and Jack Goodman Glosson from the Hounds on 15. But really interesting to see all 7 of the top 7 with a rep in there.
Kilburn, wow, 4 and zip, not resting on their laurels from their 100th year celebratory premiership. They've just gone bang to start the season, and I'm looking forward to when they play Hectorville in round 6. Hectorville, the only other side, 3 wins and that draw that they had against Plimpton. So let's see. They're certainly on the rise as well.
Plenty. I'll go first on this one because you're the Division 5 expert. I did touch on it in Division 5. From 14 points down, Greenies win the Premiership, the Division 6 Grand Final rematch against Marion. A really great 3-point win there for the Dragons.
Good win against the Dragons. We touched a bit on those. Fantastic organisation, how well they have they've come up from the doldrums and sitting comfortably and looking to rise further up through the divisions. Mine was a little bit the margin of the Woodville South win yesterday over West Croydon. It was predicted that they'd probably win Woodville South, but they won really, really comfortably. By quite a large margin. But West Croydon, I think I've mentioned, I'm not writing them off. They were bottom last year, 1 and 5 after round 6, ended up making the finals. So we'll see how they can back up and do something similar this time around.
Anything can happen, mate. Division 6, I think you better go first on this one.
Okay, so the thing that caught me is Eastern Park. Well, after I predicted what a good year I thought they were going to have last year after they were 1 and 2, and I thought they were travelling okay. They're in Division 6 this year, but they are off to a flyer this year. The first time yesterday they were made to work for their chocolates, beating Inglefine by 16 points.
No worries. What caught my eye in Division 6 and was hard to miss because many people sent it to me, and I want to do this respectfully, but it was Fitzroy 82-24, 5-16 to Elizabeth. No score. Richardson kicked 13 goals, Ellis 17, and Rosenhall kicked 29 in a game. The Eagles finishing with 6 fit players. Look, it's not going to be easy for Elizabeth right now, and I hope they can find a way to come through it. My first ever A-grade game in the mid-90s was against Elizabeth in Division 3, playing for Walkies, and I've loved the battles I've had on the field over the years with Elizabeth, and I hope they can find a way to improve, sustain, and just get through this year, because it's not going to be easy. And I know there's great people at that club, and I wish them all the best. It's not good. You don't like seeing. I didn't enjoy seeing that. So
no, it's not. Yeah. It's not. No. But take some inspiration from a team we mentioned a couple of minutes ago in Kilburn.
Yeah, 60, 70 goal losses a few years ago. I've mentioned that every week.
They were in a similar situation. What they have done to turn their club around, it just shows it can be done. And I heard the same thing. We talk about a team now in my division, in Division 5 in Greenacres. I mean, I remember having a chat with their president about 3 years ago, and he said to me, the hardest thing in this whole competition is to get out of Division 7. Mm-hmm. And they've done it, and they've gone up into Division 6. They're now up in Division 5 and equal ladder leaders with Colonel Lott Gardens.
And a nice little segue into Division 7. We've got a couple, mate. Div 7 of people too, you know. So we had our third draw of the year at Mitchell Park. It was Mitchell Park, a beautifully accurate Mitchell Park, 15-3-93. The Lodge, Brahma, 13-15-93. And it really caught my eye, kicking 6 goals to Mitchell Park. My old sparring partner, we butted fists a few times back in the day. It must be he's got to be over 40 now, because I'm old. Nate McDonald kicking 6. Of course, twins Luke and Nate, and they've been great stalwarts. So to see him up there, he'd probably be grazing the cage. Well done. But the other one that caught my eye, some of this Div 7 footy's really good. And this one got sent to me. I want to thank a young fellow by the name of Bryce Geropoulos, I think it is. He sent me this footage, and we're going to have a look at how's this front and centre crumbing goal, shades of Bailey Fritsch, coming to us. It's number 15 from Houghton, Dan Bryant. Let's have a look at it. And that is a nice finish as well for my red-headed mate, Dan Bryant.
Yep, well played by Dan, a club that I spent a year at too, Houghton. Fantastic organisation up there. It's just a beautiful, pretty little ground that they've got there. It's really good.
They even have cows on it sometimes.
Well, we had a kangaroo on a Thursday night at training. I tell you, that is the truth.
What caught your eye, mate?
Down the west end. What caught my eye? Daniel Wheatra, 33 goals after 4 games for Para Hills, including a bag of 10 yesterday. And don't worry about what caught my eye. What's going to catch everyone's eye is next week.
Yep.
The 2 undefeated sides in Para Hills and OSB Lonsdale will meet at Lonsdale Oval.
Preview of the grand final, one would think. Yep, I think it will be. And that is awesome. All right, there's one other thing that caught my eye, mate, and it is great. I mean, the show gets cut up and spread around all over social media, whether you're watching on YouTube or on the Adelaide Footy TV Facebook page, or wherever you're seeing us. But I got sent this one. Now, a few weeks ago, we just get this bit of footage up. That's Darcy and Owen watching Between the Posts and watching their good friend, family friend, Luke Harble win the Farmers League Coach of the Week. And Darcy and Owen were in my Auskick Centre that I ran last year. So that's what footy's about, community, seeing it all spread out. It is wonderful. There's one last thing, mate, what caught my eye, and it's probably catching your eye right now, and that beautiful woman over there who's in the studio audience, it's her birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Katie. Thanks for putting up with all the footy I do.
Happy birthday.
You stop. All right, Vince, you've been outstanding on what caught my eye. We'll be back with more next week. And there we go, Vince. What an episode it has been. Firstly, let me thank our sponsors, our great sponsors, and they'll come up on the bottom of the screen. Saves me stuffing up their names. But I want to thank you for coming in, mate. An outstanding Division 5 wrap, and you're out every week working for Dartfish and the league. And where are you this week again for those?
I'm at Caterer Oval for Spock versus Tea Tree Gully.
Yep, we are very approachable people too. So if you've ever got any Div 5 news, feel free to hit him up. Now, you can, of course, contact the Adelaide Footy League with all your bits, or if you see a goal or a mark, don't be afraid to hit me up. I appreciate being hit up again a couple of times this week. Just on my Facebook page is fine. Tommy Javor, not hard to find. We love the content that's out there because with 70 clubs and 270 teams, there's just so many great people out there playing footy, and there's so much good stuff happening, and we just want to share it. That's our aim, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's just about it's about community.
Yeah, it is about community, and we're just people just like you. We're not TV stars.
No.
And Hugo, I want to thank Hugo as well. Yep. We give him a fair bit of work to do every week, cut it up, get our ugly mugs off the screen and get some footage up. But yeah, I think it comes together pretty well. So thanks again to our sponsors, our viewers, and all of those that support us. We're back next week with more. Are you ready, Vince? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Between the Posts.
Between the Posts.